Well, all right. What's in this package from Kenny D? It's a bunch of flicker shads. A whole bunch of them. Number 7s. All right then, Kenny D. What do you want me to do with these? What's up, y'all? This is Steve from Natural Selection Angling, coming back at you with another great video today. Kenny D sent us this box of flicker shads and these images of spoon patterns that he likes. And he wants me to put these spoon patterns onto these factory flicker shads. I'm gonna start with this one. It's a pretty cool pattern. Let's see if we can hit the target. All right, just to get started, we gotta tear these things down. We're gonna take off the eyes, the hooks, and the rings. And we're gonna knock down the clear coat with 120 grit sandpaper. And I just wanna knock the clear coat down. I don't wanna eat through the paint down to the body because the factory process for adhesion is really, really good. And so I just wanna get our stuff onto that clear coat. All right, so we're gonna sand it down. We're gonna clean it up with isopropyl, and then we're gonna tape off the bills. This is a way that I like to do it. I start like this along the edge of the lip in the front, and I make kind of a diagonal line to the center of the bill. And then I bring it around the backside and kind of get the same angle in as my angle out from before. And the tape is going to overlap directly in the center of the bait right at the tip of the nose. All right, from there, the rest is academic. Make sure the tape is down good and tape off the rest of the bill. Now these baits that come from the factory, I'm not going to be able to match the angle that they had this bait blocked off because they use a fixture for it where they slide the bill down into it and it blocks off the entire bill. But we have to work with tape, so it's a little bit different angles, right? So we're just going to paint over some clear as well, and you'll see it comes out great. Okay, we got to now prime these. And because we're going over top of the factory finish, it's about 3 to 5 light coats. And just make them light and do many rather than try to gob it on there because it makes a difference. You don't want to like fill up the gills. You don't want to fill up the eyes. You want to have a nice smooth coat, and that's many even coats. Okay. Then some Createx UVLS over top of that to seal it and protect that paint from UV rays. And we're moving on. All right, this is the pattern. Let's get the paints ready. We're going to use Createx Wicked Gold. We're going to use a Createx Fluorescent Yellow, a Createx Fluorescent Orange, Createx Fluorescent Green, and this is Gloss Black Primer, but it could be any primer. It doesn't have to be gloss. All right. Now we're going to lay down the base color. In this case, it's gold. A few light coats. It's going to look really nice over that white. Createx UVLS to protect what we just did. Right, this way if we have to wipe anything back off, we can come back to this stage. Also, we don't want the tape to pull the paint off the body, so that UVLS will allow the tape to go on and come back off. All right, so we're just going to tape off the bottom half of the bait here. And before, when I primed this, I probably could have just taped it off the top half after I primed it, but I wasn't really thinking ahead. So you could do this in 18 easy steps instead of 19, right? But I'm just going to prime the top half white again and move on. But if you wanted to leave it gold and paint the colors over top of the gold, that can look really cool too, but you want to use a more transparent paint. You don't want to really make it opaque. You want to leave it transparent so you get some of that gold sparkle through it. That looks cool too if you want to try that. All right, here's my extra step, man. I'm copping to it. Didn't have to do this, but here we are. This is the first coat of primer. I'm going to add 3 coats to just get it white again so that these fluorescent colors show up really good and they're fully opaque. I like to lay these down usually in the order of how light they are to how dark they are. So I start with the yellow, go to the green, and then go to the orange, because if there's a little yellow left in the brush when I do the green, no big deal. If there's a little bit of green left when I do the orange, no big deal. But if orange gets into either green or yellow, it's gonna look really bad. It's gonna look brown like mud. So we'll take this tape off. Just be careful when you peel it, and kind of try to peel it down and away from the edge at like a 45-degree angle. Then you can see here too, you know, if we didn't put that UVLS on here, this would be pulling the paint right off. You can see how tacky this tape is. It's giving me fits. It's from China. Need that good old American tape. All right, we finally got it. And it looks really good. It did hold the edge really nice. So I guess that's the trade-off, right? It's a pretty aggressive tack for a removable masking tape, but we got through it. Okay, now we're gonna add our dots in, and I'm gonna do them in black. You could do them in whatever color you want. And if you want to use like opposing fluorescent colors, just lay down a white dot first and then lay your color on top of that, and that'll give you a really good, clean separation of the two colors. But I'm gonna do black here because that's what matches the pattern. And I'm doing it in what I call the Lottie Dottie pattern. You guys have seen me paint this a whole bunch of times before. It's just my style. Right, and that's pretty much what we're aiming for here, right? That's the half gold, half fluorescent rainbow plus black dots. And you guys know I don't like to copy stuff, so this is, you know, this is my version of it, right? Okay, so we'll add the 3D eyes now, and you'll see with flicker shads, they'll tell you size 4 or size 5 eye, and different models, even though they're the 7 centimeter, they have different size eyes. So some are 4, some are 5. I just did all 4 to keep it looking the same. Okay, into the clear coat. I like to start with the features first, like the eyes, a very thin coat, because around the eyes, if you make it thick, this is where bubbles like to form when the epoxy is curing and off-gassing. So I like to just put a very thin coat on there, and I can come back to it later and add some more. And then along this painted edge, I don't want to coat the entire bill. I do that when I buy blanks that I sand the bills, but these bills are awesome. So all I'm trying to do is capture the paint seam where it goes onto the clear bill with a good bead of epoxy. And I do that by pulling the brush backwards, so you get a little roll up on the edge of that paint. All right, 6 hours later, you add a second coat and you're finished. It's looking pretty good. You can see how it's got really strong UV and fluorescent features to it. And that clear coat, that thing's popping, guys. What do you think? Came out pretty good, I think. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this as much as I enjoyed making it. And remember, man, it's hard out there for everyone. So be kind to one another, be kind to yourselves, try to cut everybody some slack, and let's do this together, guys, all right? Have a good one, and I'll see you for the next one.